welcome to ViewSonic Basics Level 1. We're going to talk about the key things to know when you get your ViewSonic panel. Alrighty, so first, how do you turn on your panel? The button to turn that on will be over here in the control center, which is in the lower right part of your board. So we can get a better view, we're going to kind of pop up this. So the farthest button to your left is the power button. Moving right, there is a home button. What that home button will do is bring you to the embedded player homepage. So if I click on that home button, it will bring us right over to the embedded player homepage. Now I want to get back to my computer screen. There will be HDMI listed in the lower left. You'll click on that. It will give a little bit of time, and it will bring up your computer image again. Now this button right to the right of the home button is the back button. That is a back button for the embedded player. It will do nothing when you are in PC mode. Button to the right is going to be your gear icon, which is the input menu. If I click on that gear icon, it'll bring up inputs. This is another way that you can navigate between sources. So if I clicked on embedded player, that would bring you back over to the welcome page. If you want to go back to your PC, you will click on HDMI 1. Again, it takes a couple seconds to switch over, but it's not too big of a deal. The buttons to the right are your volume keys. So obviously volume down is going to be on the left side. When you click there, you should be able to see on the lower left of the screen, there is a volume bar going up and a volume bar going down. The USB ports to the right are if you would like to save to a USB drive or if you want to add an image via USB drive onto the board. You probably won't use those too often, but just know that they are there. Moving on to the next slide, selecting inputs. I went over that a little bit. Just know that you can click on that gear icon, and there's also volume controls on a slider here. You can also dim and brighten your panel. Obviously, if the room is bright, I would say run your panel at the brightest level. If the room is dark, sometimes bringing that down kind of keeps the mood a little bit better for video watching, etc. There also is this button that says I care. A lot of people have asked me about it. If you click it, it turns your screen kind of yellow. Most teachers do not prefer that. However, if that's something that you want to do in your classroom, feel free to do that. There's two ways to get to your input menu, and this is kind of the our first fun fact of the day. If you take your finger on the bottom of the board and swipe up, you will be able to get to the input panel as well. Whatever's quicker for you is probably what you're going to want to use. Know that this does have some inconsistencies, so I do recommend using the gear icon for those of you that aren't as comfortable with the board yet. Next, we're going to talk about the toolbar. So what the toolbars are, there are two arrows on your board. Those are always showing no matter what input you are on. If you click on those arrows, it will bring up a little menu. I've enhanced that menu up here, and we'll just go through what those do. So the home button, just like the home button in the control center. If you click on the home button, it will bring you to the embedded player. We're going to kind of live in this embedded player so I can show you that they're the same toolbar in both areas. There is an app drawer, which is the yellow icon with a bunch of squares. If you click on that, it will show all the apps that have been up on your board. You probably won't use that too often. However, if you notice your board is working a little bit slower, you will want to click this little arrow or this little kind of broom icon down at the bottom. That will clear all the processes that have been going on in your board. The next icon down is the My View Board app. What that app is a digital whiteboard. If you click on it, it will bring up your digital whiteboard. I'm going to show you that the control center does the same thing as the home button on the toolbar, brings you right back on up to home. As we move down, let's bring ourselves back into our PC so I can show you what editing looks like within this toolbar. There's an overlay digital pen button, which is the pink pen button on the toolbar. What that does is it creates an invisible glass layer on whatever you are presenting. So for example, if I click on that pen icon, it will bring up this mini toolbar. What this mini toolbar is, it gives you the options between pens, highlighters, clearing the board, or saving the image. With the pen, the more you click on it, it changes the color of what you're writing. So if I want to write in pink or red, I can write in red. That looks pink to me. Black, I can write in black, and blue. So you have 3 color choices with the pen. Once you're done writing, you can just go ahead and click the sweep button. It will clear that screen. This is not an annotation that will be saved on your device. It is more for the kind of the run and gun quick annotation type things. To get out of that toolbar, because right now everything I do will be writing on the screen, there's a little red X. You will click there, it'll close that toolbar. The next toolbar that I like talking about is this little green square kind of screen capture look. Well, that's exactly what it does. It allows me to screen capture whatever is on my screen. When I click save, it will save to the board. Remember, anything done in this toolbar is on the board, not on your computer. We'll also talk about frozen screen. What frozen screen does is it freezes your screen, but it also allows you to magnify and move. So if you do have anything that you need to show a little bit bigger, this is a nice, quick, easy way from the board that you can show those images bigger. The last thing on this toolbar is going to be your kind of your more tools side of things. What this more tools allows you to do is there's a spotlight icon, which is green. This is kind of the old school smart spotlight icon. You can highlight different sections of your screen. To exit out of it, there's a little X button at the bottom. We'll navigate to the next icon, which is your timer icon. You can set a timer, and when the timer goes off, it is a nice loud chime. So that's a nice, quick, easy way to put a timer within your classroom. Next one over is a stopwatch. Don't know how often you would use that, but it is there if you do need it. And you can do lap times as well. Again, that X shows up in all of these tools that you can just kind of close out of them. The next is the class icon. That will be something that we are going to go over in about level 4 of the next training. So don't worry about that. I just wanted to show you what it does if you click on it. Don't panic. All you got to do is exit out of it, and it is good to go. So we talked about the embedded player. Sean and I and the rest of the tech team like to refer to this page right here as your welcome screen. If you do have any issues with your board, the best thing to do is pop right on back to your welcome screen and work from there. Sometimes we dive deep into these boards and it just makes us a little bit nervous. The easiest way to get out of that, get yourself to home and you can restart yourself. So now what we're going to do is go over the inboard whiteboard digital version. So I'm going to click over on the home button and I'm going to click on VBoard Lite. So when you first open VBoard Lite, this is what you will see, which is a nice green screen, and your pen will be writing in either red or it'll be writing in white. A lot of people don't necessarily love the green background. I'm going to show you how to change that right away. You're going to click over on the menu button in the lower left and click on background. From here, you are going to be able to select what color you want your background to be. You could also add a texture. What a texture means in ViewSonic language is adding lines to your screen. You can add grid paper if you're teaching math. And for the music teachers, there also is musical staffs. So what we're going to do is we're going to just generic and make it white. So the first thing with this kind of tool is there's a lot of options on the bottom. So we're going to go through them kind of overview, and obviously you can go more in depth as you learn. So within this pen icon, there's multiple options. You have pencils, paintbrushes, You also have the size and thickness of those lines. You can use the color selector or you can use the color gradient thing. We'll just call it that. So you have that option. The other thing, the tips and tricks that I like to show you is that on these new ViewSonic pens there are two sides. There is a thin side and there is a thick side. The thick side and your finger go hand in hand. The thin side is on its own. What I mean by that is if I were to come in here and with the thin side of the pen select a red line, that thin layer is now selecting a red line. If I want to have two colors in my hand at once, I take the fat side of that pen and I select a different color. We'll go green, and now the fat side is writing in green. The cool thing is your thin side is still writing in red. So you have two pens in one. The only caveat with that is your finger and the fat side are the same thing. So I said my fat side is a green pen. So is my finger. That is something that you just need to know. There's no way to set 3 different inputs, but you can set 2. Alrighty, so to erase some of your annotations, what you will notice here is mine is going to act a little bit differently than yours will. I have an image file in the background here, so when I erase and I erase all, it will erase everything that was prior on those slides. There is a way around that, however. If I hit the undo button, I can select the image, move it out of the way, bring over here to the eraser and erase those lines, and then I can bring that image right on back. So obviously, it's kind of how you lay out your slides is going to make a big difference on what features you can use, if you can erase all or use an individual eraser for those. I just recommend messing around with it a little bit. You'll get more comfortable as you work with this system. So the next thing we're going to go over, we talked about what does the clean all or the trash icon do. It erases everything on that slide. The eraser is a lined eraser. So if I were to draw a smiley face, what this eraser does is it creates a slash. You'll notice that when I create the slash that all of the things that will be erased highlight in blue. When I let go, it will be erased. If I want to erase something in a total, I can circle all of it. All of it will turn blue and it will come off. Pop over, bring my image back so you can see the tools. The next thing is the shape icon. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this off to the side again. We're going to click on these shapes. Again, your shapes have another layer on them. So if you click on that button twice, it will come up with shape, color, and the other thing that I like showing is there's a 3D option. So the 3D option allows you to create 3D objects. Again, I want to erase just this image. So I'm going to click on the eraser, slash through it so it all highlights, and get rid of it. We'll move our picture right on back. The next things are pretty self-explanatory. However, when you click on this hand, what that does is it allows you to make canvases into an infinite canvas, which means that you can expand or make them smaller. All of your stuff that is written on the board at this point will get smaller or bigger when you use that hand manipulation. You have back buttons or undo and redo buttons here on the far right side of that main toolbar. You also will notice that there is a toolbar in the lower right. What that is a page toolbar, and it allows me to move forward and backwards on multiple pages within your digital whiteboard. So the next thing we're going to go over is the left-hand menu button. So there's a whole lot of stuff going on in here, but to simplify it, when you open that menu, there's a couple options. There is New, which will give you a new whiteboard. There is Open. If you have any whiteboards saved onto your interactive panel, you will find them here. There's also a Save button, which will save this digital whiteboard to the panel. I do recommend, if you are going to be saving the whiteboards, is to make sure that you're naming your files either by date, by class. It is really easy to lose track of where those files are going. The Import button will allow you to add any images, PDFs, or SVG files into your whiteboard. I do recommend not necessarily diving into that yet, because for that you do have to have a USB drive to get the files to your board. The export button, it allows you to export these files to one of these 4 options. Image, PDF, and then the other ones you're probably not going to want to dive into. Cloud storage. So when I click cloud storage, it gives me the ability to take this and have a Google account added to your board. To do that, if you want to add cloud storage, I do recommend you reaching out to Help Desk, and we will help you and send you a tutorial on how to do that individually. The next one is background, which is what I showed you before with adding lines, textures, different colors. And brightness disabled, I'm going to be honest with you, I've never once hit that button. Let's give it a try. No idea. So I recommend staying away from it. It doesn't really do much. So the fun fact that I wanted to kind of bring up is within this kind of whiteboard, there is a lot of different texture options. Obviously, for you PE teachers, there's some court layouts and some field layouts for you. But I wanted to kind of stress that there is multiple options for music teachers, for math programs, or even for your English and writing teachers, including reading specialists. So the last thing, this is kind of what I wanted to allude to, is you art teachers. I think you'll be happy with this one. It is called the watercolor option. So in that main toolbar, there is a little, and I'm going to screw this up, I'm going to say it's a palette. If you click on that palette, it will bring you into a whole different area of the VBoard Lite software. This area is a little bit more art focused. So if I move over to the pencil and I select black, it writes just like a pencil. However, you are able, and I don't know how well you can see this, but you are able to shade with this pencil tool. I think that if you have questions about this, dive into it, mess around. You can't screw anything up within this digital whiteboard. Try different pens, try different paint brushes, and I think that you will probably discover a lot more than even I have scratched the surface on. To get out of this watercolor section, there is a tilde or caret symbol that when you click on it, it will bring you out. I'll do that one more time. So you bring up your palette. Your palette did save. There's this little caret icon. When you click on it, it will bring you right on back to your VBoard Lite software. I want to add another page. So I'll click that Add button. I'm going to use the thin side of my pen. And as always, thank you guys for watching this tutorial. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to Sean Beaverson or myself. The best way to get a hold of us is through the help desk, support@edinaschools.org. Shoot us an email and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.